Good morning, everyone. Also, if you rewatch this later, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night when you have insomnia. Just hello to whatever time of day you decide to rewatch this video. Good morning to who is here? Oh my goodness, I'm going to try and not be rude and clear my throat again on a live stream. Good morning to Chrissanne. Good morning to Sally, Quinn, and Danny, and Janelle. Can you say hi, Aspen? I just did. There you go. Good morning, everyone. Hey, I'm super excited. My very good friend slash brother slash Rise aficionado slash guru, Trent Shelton, is going to join me this morning for live here in a few minutes. So if you don't already know him, get ready to have your heart lit on fire. If you do already know him, then you know how great this conversation is going to be. I asked him to come on because he sent me notes for the conference this weekend. We were creating some stuff that was added value for our attendees, and he sent me some notes to like what he wanted included in the workbook. And one of the things he said just like punched me in the stomach. It was so good. And I am forever looking for, that kind of stuff. Like someone teaches something or says something and it just sort of slaps you upside the head. And one of the things that he said really did that for me. And I was like, can you please come on live and unpack this? Frankly, because I want to know. So I was like, if you want to come on live, just call me and like walk me through this because this is really interesting. So he's going to be on here in a minute. In the meantime, it's Monday. It's a new week, which means that we've all got opportunity in front of us. We probably have some obstacles in front of us. We have different things going on. And I just want to remind you that you are in charge of the way that you look at the world around you. We cannot control how people treat us. We cannot control what happens in the world. This year has taught us that, but we can control our response to it. And as you set out in a new week, I just want you to be mindful of that. Someone said, so maybe, it's coming up. Our kids start school in person today. Masks, distance, like not distance learning, socially distance in the classroom, all of these things. So we're trying that. I know a lot of you are trying to figure out what school looks like. Are you doing online school? Are you trying to do in person? There's a bunch of different hurdles for us as people, as, as parents, all the things. So it's an easy time to be overwhelmed. It's an easy time to be overwhelmed, particularly because I feel like there are times in the last 6-7 months where maybe we start to feel like we're making some traction. We start to feel like we're moving in a good direction. And then it feels like we have to pivot again, right? We have to pivot again. We have to pivot again. Maybe we thought, okay, we can handle one pivot this year. And then it turns out that we're going to have to handle 12 pivots this year. And you can allow yourself to be knocked down by that, or you can find the will to stand back up. And this is especially powerful for those of us who are parents, because we're trying to figure this out. What does this time mean for our family? What does this time mean for our kids? And nobody has the right answer, so we're all just going to make the best decisions that we can. So I just want to remind you this week that you are in control of that. You are in control of your joy. You are in control of how you let things affect you. And, can I speak Persian? No, but I wish I could, because that would be rad if I just bust that out for you right now. But definitely, no, I cannot speak Persian. All right, Trent is here. He's giving me 2 muscle arms, whatever that means. So let's see. Where are you at? Oh, hold on. Wait, Trent, why am I'm social, not, okay, hold on. She's going to get it. We're going to get it. Oh, I'm just going to try and go live with you. Let's see. Beautiful. Here we go, everybody. Let's see the big guy. Maybe if I can figure out how technology works, then we'll be. Hello.
Hello. What's
How
up?
are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. It's Monday, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a Monday for sure.
So are your kid, like, is Tristan back in school? Are the kids back in school? How is it working in Fort Worth?
Yeah, so Tristan is doing virtual,
Yeah,
and then Maya, she's in school right now, so she's
yeah,
doing like mama's day out, and so
totally.
everything is good at where I'm at. I mean, it's not a lot of cases and stuff like that, so it's going good.
Yeah. And then how does Tristan like the virtual school? Because our boys hated it.
He likes it. He's Tristan is super independent, and he's kind of like introverted. Reminds me of myself, and so
Yeah.
he's kind
Okay.
of cool with just like just chilling and staying away. But I mean, we're in a new school district too, so he's kind of eager to get
Okay.
to school to meet some people.
Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, our school district's like worked so hard. I have so much freaking love for teachers and administrators who figured it all out, but just like my boys are antsy. My 8-year-old, he like can't sit still in front of it, and it feels like this, like, come on, we got it, we're gonna do it every day. So I'm really excited. Dave sent me pictures of them all in their masks ready to go, so I'm like, oh Lord, okay, here goes nothing, we'll see. But I was telling them before you came on that you had sent me an outline for some of the work that we're going to go into this weekend at Rise Live, our virtual conference. And you remind me that what the title of your list was. We won't give them all of the juicy details because that's something you get if you're going. But what was it? Like, what was the intention behind that?
Yeah, four ways to stay disciplined and create some
Right.
mental toughness in your life.
Right. And so the fourth one really, like, we're in this world, right? This is all we do. We like write, we speak, we podcast. Back in the day, we used to go and give keynote speeches on the idea of personal development. So I feel like it's a big deal when we hear something that maybe we haven't considered before. And your fourth point was all about, like, everybody focuses on raising the ceiling, but are you raising the floor? So can
Right.
you unpack that? Because I want to know, and I feel like there's a good chance if it's going to help me, then it's probably going to help the other people who are on here.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember it's probably like 3 years ago. My trainer is actually one of my business partners now, Jay. I was working out, and he had us write down basically like our goals, right? Like our fitness goals, whether it be, I want to hit this body fat percentage, I want to lift this, I want to lose this amount of weight. And he asked me, he's like, okay, cool, that's your ceiling. You want to raise your ceiling? He was like, well, what's your floor? And he had me thinking, like, what is he talking about? Like, what's your floor? And I was like, okay. He was like, well, what you're no longer going to settle for. And he was like, I want you to raise that. And that stuck with me so hard because I just feel like this is true about life. The less we tolerate, the more we grow. And for so many people, we have a great vision on the things that we want to do, whether it be a fitness journey, whether it be, some type of lofty goals that we have. But the problem is that we still continue to settle for the same things in our life. And when that gap is big, it creates a lot of inconsistency. And so what
Mm-hmm.
happened with me when I raised the floor, when it moved with my ceiling, a lot of consistency started to happen in my life. Because so say it was, okay, Trent, I want to get down to 210 pounds. And in the past, I'll get to 210, but then it wouldn't be no four for me. So I'll get back up to 235 real quick. But now my floor is 215. So when I hit 215, it's a reminder to say, okay, it's time to get back refocused so you can stay in that zone. So I just apply it to every area of my life, and it's really helped.
So I love this idea. Like, you said something that I'm like trying to wrap my brain around, this idea of, being strict with what's in your life. I kind of think of this as like, we pay so much attention to what we say yes to, but we don't give as much attention to what we should say no to, right?
Yeah,
And so this
absolutely.
idea that by cutting things out of your life, you actually grow more. So can you talk about that? Because I think most people would think, oh, the only way to grow is to add to your life, not to subtract.
Nah, the best the best way to add to your life is sometimes to subtract from it. And it's just true
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of, whether it's habits, whether it is people, whether it's, partnerships that you have, like you have to realize this. It's like, you know, I, I put the equivalent of like climbing a mountain, right? I can climb a mountain with a whole bunch of weight on my back, and I could probably do it, but it's probably going to take me a lot longer to get up there, and it's going to exhaust me a lot more. And so some of us, what we're doing is we're carrying unnecessary weight on this climb of
Mm,
life. Or we have these destinations we want to go to, and we're carrying unnecessary baggage. I mean, have you ever went through the airport and you have all these bags? You're like, what? I have all of this stuff, and it makes
right.
it hard to travel. So for me, I'm always thinking about what are the things that I need to let go of that I know is no longer serving my life. And I mean, that's my core message of rehab time. I mean, it's the R is release. What are the bridges in your life that need to be burned to keep leading your life back to destruction? And it's not always people. It could be your habits. It could be your past. It could be your mentality. And I just know my life became a lot lighter when I decided to drop the unnecessary baggage from my life.
It also reminds me, you know, we joke a lot about the time that you took Dave and I hiking with you. So if you guys never heard this story, where were we? Were we in Phoenix?
No, we were in the Bay Area.
Bay Area, okay. And there was some crazy hike that you were doing, and we thought we were cool. So we're like, oh, Trent, like, we're going to go hiking with you. And it was the most insane. I thought we were like up and down in an hour, and it probably took us 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was a long time. And we started before sunrise. So I could not see the top. I had no concept of how far. And I remember at some point I was like ready to die. And you were like, we're about halfway. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that even feels like a really good analogy for what you're talking about here too, because if you are trying to get to the top of the mountain, I also think you do have to be really conscious of who you allow to like climb with you. Because on that journey, it was amazing. You're such an awesome friend to encourage us to do it. We would not have gotten to the top if you weren't there like, come on, you get telling us, we're almost there, which was a lie. You know, we were not almost there. But in that instance, that wasn't your best pace. That wasn't your, that climb really wasn't about you and your growth. It was really about us. You were like helping us. So that's also an interesting way to look at it, is who are you going to allow to be with you on the climb, right? Because sometimes you love and care about these people. You're committed to these people. And so they're with you, even if that means that you're there to encourage them. And other times those people are they're truly just, they're not the right person to ascend the mountain with you, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I love to say mindsets are very contagious. And one of the things that I've asked myself, even personally, to hold myself accountable is, if someone was around me, would I be proud of how I'm influencing their life, right? I always say I'm influenced, but it's the same thing when you look at your circle, look at your team, look at just the people around you, the people you surround yourself around. Like, do you want to catch what they have? Mindsets that they have.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to identify, things that aren't right for you, you know it. But one thing that I had to realize with my life is there are good people that still aren't good for me. And I had to realize that.
I mean, say it again for the people in the back. That's so good.
Yeah. So when I realized that, it made it a lot easier for me to let go. Because like you said, man, I mean, the people around you we already know the people that you surround your life with, the 5 people, as they always say, will influence your life the most. So you got to look around, cut some people out, do some surgery, add some people to your circle. And I think that's one of the keys to life on this ship that you're sailing on.
When you had to cut some things out, like when you were sort of raising that floor, can you give us examples? Like, was it like, oh, I'm going to never again will I, go to bed past a certain, like, was it that tactical?
Some of it was. For me, I'm always thinking about standards. I don't know if you heard me talk about it. You probably have, but like, I'm more into standards over goals, because just for me, like how my brain works, goals excite me, but once I get there, I get bored. And so like, I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the standard I could live? Because I feel like standards are lifestyle, which you live by. So for me, it was like, okay, what's the new lifestyle that I'm going to live? And so, for me, it's going to bed at a certain time. For me, it's doing certain things in the morning, which look different, to be able to create the energy and mental health clarity that I need. A certain weight goal for myself. And it's not just about weight, I'll say body fat, but that fasting for me, like intermittent fasting, that was a thing that I say, I'm going to do. I'm not going to eat breakfast anymore. And not telling people not to do it, like research.
No, I do intermittent fasting too. I love it. So just out of curiosity, what are your hours? Like what's your fast hours?
Yeah, so I don't, 8, probably 7, 8, and I don't eat till after 12. And I'm to a place now where I'll do 24-hour fast. I'll do 48-hour fast.
Do you really? Wow.
Yeah. I did a 72 recently.
And honestly, the thing I want to say this, because again, like, guys, do your research. Don't let two strangers on the internet tell you that you should do intermittent fasting. But for me, I don't notice, it's not like I'm noticing a big difference in, I don't really notice a difference in like my body, but my energy and my mental clarity, it's wild. Like, it blows my mind. And I heard about it forever, and I knew y'all did it, and I was not interested. And then Amy Porterfield was like, you have to try this. And I did it for a week, and I will never go back because I cannot explain how much better I can focus.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you enter ketosis, and people can do their research, but it's totally amazing for me when I do it. And so I just like the way I feel, so I stay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I love this idea of standards and set a new standard and what does it look like to level up. There's something really interesting to me about what you said in that when you like goals and they get you excited, but then you get there and you sort of get bored, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
And typically how I've handled that is I just make a new goal. But there's something really interesting about set a standard and can you live to this standard consistently? Which I love this idea because it's more of a lifestyle choice than, oh, I'm just going to do something for a certain period of time.
Yeah, so the quote that I always use that people love, I say, goals are something that you reach, standards are something that you live by. And for me, when I'm focusing on the standard, on the lifestyle, what ends up happening is I end up, crushing the goal anyway. You know what I'm saying? I end up blowing past the goal because I break it down like this. When I think about some major in my life, I often think about who do I have to become? What's the standards I have to develop in order to achieve this, not just for a short period of time, but for consistency over my lifestyle, over my life. And so I just think if you think about standards, it just puts you in a whole different place because sometimes the greatest enemy to success is not failure, it's success, at least for me. And so I'm always thinking about how can I level up with consistency.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, if you guys are just joining us, I'm on with Trent Shelton, and we are talking about setting a new standard, raising your ceiling, raising your floor. Trent is part of our Rise virtual conference this Saturday. Trent's been a part of like every Rise conference ever. So we're really excited to have you virtually. But oh my God, I fully lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something else. What does it look like for you in terms of like standards and consistency and all of that in quarantine, in the world that we're living in, and everything's so different now? And how have you approached this time? I mean, I feel like those habits and routines are what has sustained us, but I'm just curious what it has looked like for you in the last 7 months.
Can you repeat that one more time, Rachel? I have this country internet, so I was breaking up. You were breaking up on me.
No, I said, how have having those standards in place helped you in quarantine and pandemic? You said your country internet.
Yeah. So my internet is terrible. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. I heard what you asked.
Yo, we got you.
So can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes,
for me, it helped because obviously, with quarantine, a lot of things change. Obviously, I mean, for everybody's life. I mean, it flipped everybody's world, upside down, inside out, etc. But I know this is true. No matter what happens in your life, no matter if it's the worst, if it's the most terrible season, if you lose something, if your business is failing, I do know, because I learned this from sports. I do know no matter what it says on the clock, as long as you have time left, if you continue to do the things and follow the game plan and trust the game plan, you have to make certain adjustments, but you trust the game plan, eventually you'll get out that situation and eventually you'll grow because of that situation. So for me in this whole quarantine, I just kept telling myself that I'm going to grow because of this. And when I get out of this, hopefully soon, when we get out of this thing, I know I'm going to be a better person because I still develop the routines, still stay loyal to the standards throughout this whole process. Game plan, man, because some now, so I don't want to like mess up the live. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you now. That country internet is showing up though.
Okay,
for sure.
cool.
No, no,
Cool.
no.
So
No, I got,
yeah,
wait, you're back.
we
You're totally back.
it, my internet is terrible. Like we can't get internet because quarantine for like two weeks from now out here, and we have one service, and then we have this like little modem box that's terrible. Tristan's old school, so I'm in and out, and I can just see your pause with a smile on your face. So I don't want to hold up the live, so I'm gonna just jump off.
No,
I
yeah.
appreciate you, and
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you, Trent. Thank you so much for coming on. Super appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Appreciate it. Make sure y'all come to Rise Health Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Let's get
Yes, it is. It is. Wait, I don't know how to, there it is. Okay, we got it. All right. I love that conversation. If you haven't ever listened to Trent's podcast, it's so fantastic. It comes out, I want to say it comes out either Mondays or Wednesdays. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You can get it anywhere you get your podcast, but it's that kind of information and wisdom. And I saw a lot of you asking questions about, okay, well, how do I cut people out of my life that I know are not, that shouldn't be there? And then okay, I'm going to answer that one first. So I think this looks like two things. It looks like, what kind of relationship do you have with this person? That is it a conversation where you actually say to them, you know what, you know, wishing you the best, but this isn't something that's going to work for me? Or is it, I feel like a lot of us have acquaintances in our lives where they're not really close friends or not, and you know, whatever, and it just looks like you stop interacting. Like it just looks like this thing isn't working for me. I barely know you. I don't owe you interaction. And it just looks like you stop engaging with the person that you know is not healthy for you. The other question that I saw you ask was, how do I add people to my life that sort of level up my circle or level up where I am? And my thought process on this is, we're in a kind of weird time to make new friends, right? Like it's a very weird time. We can't necessarily go out in the world and like meet people. And so I always want to encourage you that the easiest way to add incredible information and ideas and wisdom to your circle is by what you consume. What books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? What YouTube videos are you watching? What is the information that you are gleaning from the world around you? Because we have a choice, right? We can fill our social media feed with, memes and cat videos and, Instagram models. And like, that's all well and good. But if you're truly wanting to level up the way that you look at the world, then you need to add people to what you consume that changes the way that you look at the world. So that would be my best advice. If y'all have any more questions on this topic, raising your ceiling, raising your floor, ask them now. We got like 10 more minutes. And just a reminder, Trent came on because this weekend, Saturday, is our last Rise conference of the entire year. It's Rise Live, which is our virtual event. It's 9+ hours of programming. Jay Shetty, Trent Shelton, Stacey Flowers, Britt Barron, me, Nick Vujicic, Dave Hollis, Chris, Asan's DJing. It's so much fun. If you need motivation, if you need a kick in the pants, if you want to have a conversation about health that isn't about weight, that doesn't talk about the way we look, but talks about how do you have more energy? How do you live your life in a way that is celebratory of who you are instead of shaming who you are? So we approach health differently, and Saturday is a conversation about that. You can find out more information at theholliscode.com. Right there at the top is a banner. You click it and you can look at all the juicy information and see if it's for you or if it's not. Okay, let's see. So what are good habits to start with to ignite change? Health, wellness, nutrition. So in this one, I always say that it's easier to add something when you're starting out on your journey, just one thing, than it is to try and go cold turkey and cut out a bunch of stuff. So I always do something simple. Getting hydrated, adding the goal that you're going to drink enough water every day, adding the goal that you're going to stretch every day, adding the goal that you're going to move. Pick one, whatever one feels most inspiring and exciting to you and achievable, that you can do it consistently. That is the place that I would start. What friend boundaries should you have? Amanda asks. So forgive me because I feel like I've said this a lot lately, but I asked my therapist several months ago how someone should know where to put a boundary. And she said that if there's something in your life that you want or you're asking for, whether that's time away to rest, or, you know, that you don't want to plan the friend's baby shower because you're already feeling stressed out at work, or whatever it is that you're asking for, and you worry that someone would say that you're selfish for asking, or you actually have people in your life who would call you selfish for asking, that's the exact place that you need a boundary. So that's typically how you know. How can you healthily distance yourself from family? I think this is about you setting, this is like, right, ceiling and floor. This is about you saying what you are comfortable with and what you will accept. And different family members in my own life, I feel like it's like I have to protect my peace and I have to protect my sense of safety. And maybe that doesn't make sense to everybody, but it does in my head, and maybe it will make sense to some of you. And so I have different relationships with different family members. I have some family members that I haven't talked to in, 16 years, 17 years, because it was so toxic that I just stepped away. And then I have some family members that I still have a relationship with, but I really guard my peace and I really am protective of my energy before I interact with them. So it's just, it is based on what you need. I do not believe that just because somebody is blood, that they automatically get a pass into your life. I fundamentally disagree. I have dear friends who are closer to me than any blood relation, and I have blood relations that I don't talk to at all because they're too toxic. So I think it's about you deciding what you need to do for you. Let's see. So someone just said, how can I set boundaries with a super negative friend? She means well, but she is such a joy sucker. Man, we all have people like that we know. I guess it's like you have to decide again, is that friendship, is that relationship worth the fact that she is a vacuum of good times, right? That she sucks the joy out of the room. Is it worth it? Or are you in that relationship still because you feel like you have to be, because you feel like you are required to stay in it because you've been doing it for so long that you don't know any other way to be? Because life is freaking short, you guys. It's so short, and we get one chance to do it. And so I do not want to live this life doing anything the way it's always been done, because that makes other people or me feel more comfortable. If someone is negative and toxic in your life, why? Tell me like what this person's doing that makes up for the fact that they're negative and toxic. So someone just said, I feel like I have to defend the fact that I have gained massive wisdom. You don't have to defend anything. I'm a broken record, but Byron Katie has this line that I love that says, defense is the first act of war. Defense is the first act of war. The second that you defend yourself, you give someone permission to attack you. So I don't defend anything. I don't owe anybody an explanation. I am a steward of myself and my children. Those are the things that I'm a steward of in this life. And it is not my responsibility or your responsibility to tell anybody else, unless you are a steward of that relationship, to explain yourself to other people. So you don't have to defend anything. Let me say it a different way. The only reason we defend ourselves is because we're worried, uh-oh, they're not going to like me. Uh-oh, they're going to think negatively about me. Uh-oh, someone's going to say this. Like, you guys, people can say anything they want, and it doesn't affect who you are, how you show up, how you love, how you move through this world, or your worth, unless you decide to accept it. People are going to say whatever they want to say. It doesn't change. It doesn't make it true. I honestly, this is wild, but I was listening to Miley Cyrus did an interview with Joe Rogan, which, if you're a hippie, is a really interesting, like if you are that kind of, I thought it was really fascinating. And she said this thing, they ended up getting into a conversation about her being a celebrity. And she said, people would write things about her on the internet or say things about her on the internet. And because someone wrote it, she would somehow convince herself that it was true. Like, she was so worried about what other people said that when they said it, she was like, oh my gosh, that must be true. And I think that we have to remind ourselves that those things only have power if we give it power. It is really fascinating to me in this process of going through a divorce, internet rumors that exist about me on the internet, that I'm like, what? Like, where? I came across one the other day because someone on my team was trying to Google something and something popped up and I was like, wait. And you should never, ever Google your own name. But I happened to see it autofill and I was like, wait, what? It was so crazy. And I laughed. And then I was like, oh my gosh, are people going to believe this? And truly, it doesn't matter. I ended up sending a note back to the person who had commented because I was like, this is so crazy. And I just feel like if you're going to make up rumors, can we make up cooler rumors? But just because someone says something about you doesn't make it true. And as long as I continue to do this work, as long as I continue to show up in this world, as long as you continue to show up in whatever way that you do, people are going to have an opinion on that, right? So the cost of the life that you want to have and the cost of your freedom is you teaching yourself to not care what other people say or think about you. That's the boundary, right? Someone said, where do I put a boundary? Put it right there. When Trent and I were talking about ceiling and floor, I saw someone say, like, raise the ceiling, raise the floor, bring the walls in so that you have boundaries around you. That's what this looks like. People are going to say whatever they want to say. You have to believe, you have to see so clearly that the life that you want to have is worth you showing up as yourself, regardless of what other people think about it. All right. Tomorrow, because I'm just like bringing all my friends on live this week, tomorrow, 8:30, I will be here with my best friend, Britt Barron, who you maybe know as Beans, if you've ever been to Rise with us before. And we're going to talk about who knows what. I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be fun and exciting. So if you want to do another conversation like today, come back tomorrow at 8:30. If you want to find information about the conference, our last conference of the year is this Saturday. It's virtual. You can tune in all day long from wherever you feel comfortable. Tickets start at $40 for 9 hours of teaching and programming and all the juicy things. So check it out on theholliscode.com. Have a fantastic Monday. I love you guys. I'll see you later.